Hello, this is Michelle Sizemore, Independent Advisor with Creative Memories. I'm going to show you how to make these rolling sails borders using the Rolling Sails Border Maker cartridge and the decorative trimmer for the waves. And then this background right here is just cut out from a piece of paper in the Serene Waters collection. I'm going to set this aside and show you this collection. This is the paper that I used, and I just cut this. These are borders, and I just cut this border out, and that is what I have for the background. And then I just layered the waves on top to make it look wider, and I will demonstrate how to do that. So I'm going to leave this piece of paper out, but I just want to flip through these papers to show you how pretty this collection is. It is just beautiful. I love the colors. I just got back from the beach, so I'm going to be using this for my beach pictures. Love it. And then it's got other papers. It's got vellum paper. It has a whole nother paper pack with more tone-on-tone colors, a sticker pack, laser cut embellishments, photo mats and journal boxes, and embellishments. Okay, I'm going to set all this aside and just show you how to cut this out. Real quick, I'm going to use the straight trimmer. And I have the straight blade in here. So I'm just gonna go up, pull that up and place this here. And I want to cut on the dotted line that's on the left of the rubber mat right there. So I'm gonna line that up. Make sure it's lined up all the way to the top. I tell you what, I'm gonna pull out this arm because it does help keep everything straight when you're using a long piece of paper, because it gives you a lip to go up against to keep everything straight. So again, I'm going to line it up with the left-hand dotted line, and I'm going to just use my little guide to make sure. I just want to cut right on the inside of it so that none of that adjacent paper shows, and it will cut where I want. And then I'm going to do it on the bottom and just slightly on the inside. Use my little guide to make sure it's going to cut exactly where I want, and it is, and cut. So now I have my sunset border to work with. Set all of this aside. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to cut my 2 layers of water. For that, I'm going to use this decorative trimmer, and I have some cardstock in here. In my Power Project folder, this is all my blues together, how I organize them. And I'm going to pull out a strip of this aqua and a strip of this lighter blue and show you how I got these waters. And by the way, this is my contact information right here. It has my email address, my phone number, and my website address. This is how you can contact me. And if you want to place an order on my website, this is the website address to go to. And I'd be so thankful if you just double check to make sure my name is listed at the top, Michelle Sizemore. And that is if you are trying to order from me. Thank you. Alrighty, so let's cut this water. I'm going to do the darker aqua first. I want this wavy look, not this swell. I want this one. So the first one that I cut, I'm going to line up at the top, and it's going to cut right here. I'm leaving enough extra over here because I want to be able to use the leftovers maybe on the bottom of another page. So I kind of went in a little bit to make sure that I have enough space to do that so it won't be wasted. So now I'm not cutting yet. I'm just sort of moving it, but I want to start out cutting it that way, go back. That helps to keep the paper from bending. And then I'm going to cut. So now this piece I can use on something later. For example, that would be perfect to use for a skinnier strip. But I cut this piece to use for this top border, and I'll actually make it a little bit shorter. And then I want to cut the lighter aqua, but I'm going to do something a little bit different with that one. When I cut the darker aqua, I was lined up at the top. This time I'm going to move it over a little bit and line it up at the bottom. because that's going to make my swells on here offset a little bit from the other color that I cut, which is the look that I want. I see a place where I lit up a little bit, so I'm just going to tear that, and then I can go back with my scissors, clean it up a little. I love these micro scissors because they can get in the grooves and stuff. Okay, so let me get my piece of cardboard to work on. Here we go. Now this was the color that was on the top, and then this was underneath it. And I like this because the swells are kind of different. They kind of flow differently. So I'm going to mount this on top of there like that. I'm going to use my repositionable tape runner and just mount it on top here. And then I get like a double color wave. And now I'm going to make this a little bit shorter. I'm just going to look at it and see what I like. There's no right or wrong size for this, but I think that's pretty good. Make sure it's lined up at the top. Kind of double check this all the way down to make sure they're kind of along the same grid line, and cut. And there I have my water. So now all I do, pretty easy, I'm going to mount, well, I'm not going to actually mount yet, but you'll get the idea. It's going to be mounted about right here, because the first thing I want to do is to cut my sailboats out, and this is done with the border maker system. Let me go over here and grab my border maker system. Okay, there we go. And I've got the sailboats cartridge, which is this. So to put your cartridge in your cartridge holder, you go from this open side and just put it in. You want the metal pieces to stick out until it pops in place. Okay, so I'm going to cut out some navy sailboats. Here we go. So I'm going to put my navy cardstock in here, make sure it matches up with all the lips all the way around. Put my tray back underneath until it pops in place. And then I'm going to cut my border. I'm making sure that the notches line up and that it fits into the grooves underneath. Just feel it pop into place, and there you go. Now I'm going to cut this to make it shorter. I'm just going to eyeball it. It doesn't have to be a perfect size because it's actually going to be covered up some. So cut that with my trimmer, and I have my sailboats. Throw away this trash, all the scraps. All right, get all this stuff out of the way. And now all I have to do is mount the sailboats on top of the sunset border. And I want about that much to show. Yeah, like, I want the sun to show. So I'm gonna flip it over, put some tape runner on the back. Of course, I'm always using my repositionable tape runner because it doesn't show through on the other side. It's great for when you're using borders and things. Now I'm going to just mount this so it shows some of the water and the sun. And then I'm going to mount my water on top. And I'm going to just let as much show as I want. I'm trying to cover up most of that navy so that the navy water doesn't look just like the ships. But I am going to do something to that water to make it look a little bit different than the ships. And I'm going to give it like a little bit of a white wavy look. I'm using this gel pen. We also have a chalking pen. You can use either one. I'm going to use the gel pen though because you can see it right away. The chalk pen, you use it and then it's sort of transparent and then it shows up a couple minutes later. So I'm just going to make some little waves. Right here. Okay. And I notice I need to trim this just a little bit. I'm gonna take my bigger scissors for this and just trim it off so that everything's even over here. And I believe I am done. There you go. Now, another idea. So there are two different borders here. And I just realized I use more of a royal here and more of a navy here. I actually like the royal better, but it's just a preference. I mean, it looks like it's sunset and it's kind of getting dark and whatever, but I like the royal a little better. Another idea you can do is like this, where I drew little lines on the sails to give it that kind of a look, and I just used the same pen and I just, oops, that's the wrong one. I used this pen. It'd be fine if I used that one, but I just want to show you with this one because you can see it right away. Draw your little lines and it makes it look like striped sails. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to do one more just to show you. Get the idea. And you have pretty easy sailboat border. Thank y'all for watching.